Hello and welcome to Homestead Imaginations. I am Josh and I am doing July's food forest tour. It is August 1st, so I'm a little behind, but trying to stay up on these things to document how everything is going. Not much progress. This should be a quick video. These are the wild blackberries. They have a little bit of growth, not too much. That's a wild one back there. That's even smaller. Granted, there's a ton of weeds, hard to pick out. That right there is a shoot from a blackberry variety that I got in the fall and planted. So it's at least established. It grew something. It's not a lot. I'm hoping next year it'll actually produce some actual good canes and actually start producing. But it's just getting situated, I think, or at least I'm hoping. So those are there. I plan to make this area right here a blackberry patch. Most likely going to let the wild ones go because I don't think they're going to do anything. And the wild blackberries that I actually got them from produced awesome one year. The first year we found that they're there, and then they haven't produced berries in the last 2 years. So I think I'm just getting rid of those. I think they're wild. Wild varieties don't really tend to continue to keep producing. I don't know why, but I had wild raspberry that did the same thing. It produced, I think, once, not for us, but from where we got it, and then it never produced again for them or us. Here's our elderberry patch. I had to put a fence around this because the deer came through and crushed all my hopes and dreams for this summer. These two, that one there and that one there, are going into their third year of growing. They put on new growth. It seems like that's as tall as it gets in like 1 year. For some reason, it always keeps the stalling at like that height. And then every year, then the deer come around in the fall, usually the fall, and then they eat all the new growth. So I was going to put up a fence anyway, but the deer beat me to it. I think they knew it was coming. Because then these two new ones, they actually had flowers and they were going to produce berries this year, or should have produced berries because they had flowers. And the deer came through and pretty much decimated this one to the point where like a lot of it died. The flowers ended up dying. And then that one over there, they actually ate the flowers right off the plant. So I was hoping this would have been my first year getting elderberries. That's not going to happen, unfortunately. The grape plant in the corner is doing okay. It's got some growth, but it was behind. I've got the two mandarin orange trees here. They're doing decent. They put on some new growth. Nothing crazy, but it's a fruit tree. They tend to take quite a few years to actually to get to production anyway. So this is a lemon or lime tree. I mixed them up. The other one's over there. They put on good growth. And they seem to be doing really well, so I'm very happy with those. We got them last year, so this is at least our second year by the time we're done with this year. And they're probably maybe a year old, maybe 2 years old, so we're looking at probably two, 3 more years before they start producing actual lemon and limes. Like, they do flower, and they do produce, like, I mean, literally like that big of lemon or limes. But that's it. They're super tiny, so eventually, like, they need to get bigger so that way they can produce bigger ones. Here's some of the grapes that survived from last year. They've actually put on some good growth. I'm hoping that they survive the winter because all their growth from last year did not survive, which is unfortunate. So I'm hoping these do much better. They're much thicker than what grew last year, so I'm hoping they stay and survive the winter. Everything else, seaberry trees are getting hit a little bit by the June beetles. Same with the cherry trees. They love the seaberry and the cherry trees. These are two apple pink lady replacements. I'm leaving them in the pots for this year. I'll plant them next year. The weeds have completely taken over. As you can see, there's some rhubarb. It's really kind of grew small. It was planted last year and it survived through the winter, but it hasn't done much. Here's another grape. This one's doing much better than the first one in the corner. Got a whole shoot going this way and then shoot going this way. The goal is to let it wrap around and grow along the fence and go up and then like go over. That's the goal with those. Hopefully they survive as well the winter. I mean, hopefully everything survives the winter. Let's see. Otherwise, there's not too much to really show progress. Things that have survived are doing pretty well. I do have some issues with the apple, like the orange rust that's on some of my apple plants, especially from like here all the way to the corner. So there must be like a cedar tree somewhere in the distance that way, or something that only hit like this back corner. Then we've got currant that's doing okay, nothing crazy. It does have some growth, but nothing substantial. We do have some flowers that are growing in here, and then lots of weeds. Hard to differentiate. So like that's an apple tree that has gotten rocked by the cedar rust. Like look at that, like it just, this tree really hasn't done too much at all. It's alive, it's surviving, but it's not doing the best. That's a white currant. Again, nothing crazy. That's a patch of little raspberry that I planted. Didn't grow. Here we got a bird nest with some babies. I'll go around on the other side and show it. These are mammoth sunflower trees. And they're living up to their name. They are huge. Especially like this head. Look at this sucker. Oh, I'm ripping off a lot of the stuff off that. But that's huge. That was more delicate than I thought it was going to be. See the baby robins. They're cute. There's 4 of them. They seem to be doing well. They should be taking off from the nest soon. Look at this huge sucker. That thing is big. That's a big sunflower. This pear tree, I'm kind of disappointed in. It did really well last year. It's put on some big growth. They got really tall. But this year, like, I mean, it's healthy and it's doing okay, but it really hasn't put on any growth. Like, there's no new shoots, there's no new branches. It's just healthy, which, I mean, I'd rather take healthy than dead or any other issues, so. Here's some more raspberries that I planted. They are doing well. Here's some sea berry. You can even see June beetles. They came back again this year. Another rhubarb plant. Again, not doing great. Like the rhubarb's growing like extremely small. Mama bird just came into the nest. Don't know if the camera's picking it up, but she's hopping around right up in there. 2 red currants. Another apple tree that's got some issues with the rust. This is disappointing looking. So this is our gooseberry, and this was looking extremely full, like maybe like a week or 2 ago. Now this has got some kind of spots on it, and I mean, it's got lots of new growth. Like this plant was doing fantastic, so I'm hoping it's just because it's getting later in the season and it's doing something different. I don't know. But like before I couldn't even see the base, and now I can. So hopefully this isn't having any issues. We went through a large drought, and then like this last week it's done nothing but rain. So I don't know if that's affecting it. Same with that one. That was a gooseberry plant. Those were 2 I was actually really excited about sharing like their progress because they were doing so well. But now they're not doing so hot anymore. Another small rhubarb that just got planted. This is one of my June berries that's barely kicking because I weed whacked it and cut it. So I'm just hoping that survives and starts regrowing next year. These are green onions. We harvested some of those actually yesterday. We got rosemary and thyme. and I know like everything is swarmed with weeds. Here's more green onions. So these obviously went to flower, but we harvested a bunch of stalks and cut them up for dinner, and they're doing great. We got some chives, garlic chives, some more thyme and rosemary, sage. This area is doing a little bit better than that area. More green onions. Over there we got walking onions. This tree is not looking good at all. Gala apple. This one looks like that one may have bit the dust from the rust. I'm gonna have to find that tree soon. That's another tree. So I had 39 fruit trees and I lost 10 throughout over the winter. So a pretty big hit. That's a lot of trees to lose. That's a little over a quarter of my trees. So, you know, everything's kind of just status quo for the most part. This thing is this weird growth pattern, but it's cool looking. It's a nectarine tree. Let's see, over here we got my pawpaw tree. It seems like it's struggling. I need to mulch better. That's what the next project I'm gonna have to take on is I'm gonna weed all these rows, and then I am going to mulch like deep. There's a nice little snake, little garter snake. They're our friends. They eat hopefully the mice if they get big enough. Another raspberry plant. Let's put on some small raspberries. Another Juneberry plant that I weed whacked on accident because the weeds are just overtaking these areas, and I didn't see the tag and trying to rush and get through it so I could actually move on to like the next thing. More raspberries. I've got a ton of raspberry plants. This tree looks a little thin. It's a seaberry tree. Lots of weeds over here in the corner. That is another grape. Same thing with that. I want it to grow up and grow along the fence in the corner. That's a red delicious apple. That one actually looks fine. That one doesn't have any rust on it, but that also hasn't really put on much growth. I don't know what it is with this year, but a lot of things really haven't put on like any growth. It's kind of just been like status quo for all these plants, which is definitely a bummer. So these plants definitely in this row have definitely been hit with the cedar. This is struggling. Oh, looks like this raspberry died. We went through that drought, really hurt. But like, man, this is bad. I've taken on too much and tried to expand too much when I wasn't ready. And now things are suffering because of it, which is really unfortunate because it was a lot of hard work. But I didn't do things right, so that's what happens. So, as you can see, grass has grown into this. There's weeds into this. Like, you can't even make out the row. Like, this used to be a nice defined wood chip. Not that I went very thick, but when I first did it, it looked very nice. It's almost level with the ground now because the compost layers broken down. The wood chips are starting to, like, you know, break down. So my goal is I'm gonna start tomorrow. I'm gonna start with this row, start with that plant there. That's a mulberry tree that's new this year. That seems to be doing really well. I'm gonna weed this completely, rip everything out that does not belong, and then I'm gonna come through and wood chip. I've finally got some wood chips coming in from Chip Drop, which has been a huge help because I do have a wood chipper, but it takes a lot of time to get trees down, to cut them to size, and then where I can actually wood chip them because it's not like a big commercial one. So I can only do like 3-inch diameter. So I need to wood chip this to eat too. There's too many weeds growing in this stuff. It needs to be thicker so it protects. So I haven't been able to make too much wood chips. I have made a bunch this summer and have used them and placed them, set up the gardens this year with it, and had enough to like get started, but then like I ran out to be able to start like covering new areas, and then like now I've realized like I've got to redo this. Like look, I mean you can barely see that these are rows. If it wasn't for the plants in the row, you couldn't even tell like the difference between the grass, and there is wood chips there, but there's just not much left. They're starting to break down. This is one of my crazy plants. Here's the big exciting thing here. This is a cranberry. We got one single little cranberry. This plant got planted in the fall, and I don't know what's going on. It must be like root bound or something, to the point where like it's just not doing anything. I mean, I can almost grab like a square here. So I need to get something to help break that up, but I think it came in like a little square pot, and like it's still like a square. Like I just felt it. Like I could grab literally like and feel edges. So it might be root bound and just not able to properly grow. But this hasn't put on like any growth at all this year, like a tiny bit. This is pretty much the size I got it. So I don't know if the cranberries are just really that slow, or if it's when I got it, it was root bound and it just wasn't able to break down its little root ball that it's got. Because that stuff, like, not compost, Miracle Grow, you know, potting mix, that stuff, when it gets root bound, it solidifies. It's almost, it turns into like a rock. These are my blueberries that the bunnies ate. It's right here, and then there's some weeds that are growing through the wood chips. I did finally wood chip this with pine. You can't really see the pine needles anymore. They've already broken down, turned brown, but I did put them in here when they were green to hopefully, you know, help with the soil being a little bit more acidic. Hopefully help retain some water. Also have things starting to break down, start to feed this soil. That's another blueberry right there. But yeah, over the winter, this grew blueberries. I think it was that one over there. Yeah, that one over there had grown blueberries last year, and a good amount. Like, they're decent sized plants, and the bunnies came through and ate everything. Like, out of all these, that one died. So that's like as small as they are, and they really didn't put on much growth this year, so it was really unfortunate. So that's why I've gone through one of the big projects I almost finished. I've gotten the like chicken wire, like small hold chicken wire from the corner here, and I've secured this. I put hardware cloth and buried it along the base here into the ground, because this is sand, so they can dig. And I went to that point because I didn't want to disturb my raspberry bushes. But I've got that hardware clothed off, protecting that. And I've got this chicken wire all the way through. I finally got my gate to be able to open and close. I had to dig down to level it, essentially. So that way it was level with the side that was lower. And now the door swings and closes just fine. It works great. But that took a while, and then I put hardware cloth in the bottom of that, so now no bunnies can get in that way. And then went all the way around. That tree line is filled with poison ivy. Me and the boys are suffering, especially my youngest. He is covered in poison ivy. We're still trying to heal and battle it, but we're getting there. Our skin's slowly healing, but his is really bad. So I got up to the corner here, so now I've got all the garden plants growing along the front of the fence line, all my vine plants. So I'm waiting until that's done, the garden's done, and then I will finish chicken wiring all the way to the front. So that should hopefully prevent the bunnies from getting in. So that'd be fantastic, because they've gone through and they've devoured a bunch of stuff. Obviously my blueberries, they've devoured stuff out of the garden this year. Here's one of our raspberry patches, one of our first one that we really put in. Doing great. Lots of we got a lot of raspberries this year. Ashley got a harvest, which we haven't had a harvest before. Like we've had like a couple here and there, like maybe a dozen raspberries leading up to this point, because we had a different bush that was here that I completely ripped out because it was just not produced. It hadn't produced a berry in a couple, 2-3 years, and even the first year it did produce, it was literally like maybe 10. So these are finally producing, as you can see, lots of new growth. So we should have a successful, good raspberry patch going forward. And then, as you saw, I have a bunch of raspberry patches that will be starting and kicking off in all the different areas out in the food forest. So we should have tons of raspberry. There's a handful of raspberries left on here that are just almost ripened. But for the most part, it looks like the raspberries are pretty much done. So that's good. I'll show the fence real quick, and then that's it. So that's the food forest. I haven't been able to spend any time in the food forest. I've barely been able to spend time into the garden. I mean, between every week needing to mow and then weed whack, like that takes a lot of time just to keep up on that. So I haven't been able to actually work on new projects. I did get those done. I don't think they were done from the last time I did my last, I think my June like garden tour and food forest tour, I don't think those were done. So those are rebuilt, redesigned, and they are fantastic. I love how they're set up now. They are going to work fantastic. They're going to be set and go. I'm going to fill them. I'm starting to fill the first one. It's almost full. Fill it to the top and then stop, and then just move on to the next one, and so on and so forth. Give it a year or two to fully break down and be good, and then I'll start adding it to the garden. So it's gonna be a while before I can get like actual like compost going for the garden, so they're gonna have to struggle a little bit before they can get replenished. But a lot of them do have some compost put in, so they should do okay. Should hold them over for another year or two before I really get some compost really rolling. And like I got 4, I was hoping to maybe add 2 more this year, so that way I could hopefully have like 6 in rotation, like, and just fill them throughout the years. And so I always have stuff ready. So here's the fence. As you can see, like I had to dig down like, I think it was like 16 inches from there down just to get the fence to be able to go down and then be flush. So the door actually opens. Obviously this is not great. This is just my thick clay. Now that's getting all dried out, and I just have like cliffs, and it is what it is. I might try and slope it a little bit better, so that way it's not like a step down, but it's like a sloped in, and same with this. But that's like future projects when I have nothing else to do, so who knows when that'll be. But at least this works, so I can get in and out. I can drive the mower in, I can drive the side-by-side in if I need to. So yeah, so made some progress. I haven't made any videos about a lot of the stuff that I've been doing. I've been so busy, I haven't even had time for YouTube. I haven't even been watching YouTube. I haven't made any videos for YouTube. I've really fallen way behind on everything. So I'm hoping August I can try and catch up, get some other stuff done. Now that the fence is pretty much secured besides the front, which again I need to wait to finish that. I'm hoping I'll start working on this. I'm hoping like this doesn't take too long to like weed through a row. I got 8 rows I got to do of weeding, and then reapplying a lot of wood chips to help protect and set them up. So hopefully the weeds don't get out of control, and they are manageable, so I can actually come out and weed when I need to, and I can tell which plants are mine and what plants are weeds, and not weed whack the wrong things. So yeah, so that's the goal for this area. I was hoping to cover a new area. Like each year I want to cover a new area. That is my absolute goal. And I haven't been able to cover anything yet, but literally the only thing I might do is like connect. So this is a new tree, that's a new tree, that's a new tree. It's not connected. I didn't make a row yet. So for either one of these, so I think maybe for this year, the only thing I expand on and cover is just making these rows complete from the new trees that got added in. That might be all I get to this year. Just with everything I've got going on, it's just so hard. Homesteading isn't easy, and it's a full-time job, and I'm not doing this full-time. I'm doing this part-time, and it's not even like a bunch, or not bunch, but like it's like my wife is only able to help every once in a great while, so it's truly like just me trying to do this, which is really tough. So I've struggled. I've definitely faltered on getting as much done as I wanted to, just because I'm so behind on trying to do everything. But hopefully I can get somewhat caught up before the summer is over. I mean, it'll be fall here before you know it. It's August 1st already. I can't believe it. So this is what's got going on. Not a lot of great news, honestly. It's a lot of just like, it's alive, but nothing is thriving, I would say. I don't think I have anything thriving. I would have shown the gooseberries as thriving, but just within the last week or two, they've lost a lot of their leaves or what. Yeah, it had been leaves, because like they were very thick and bushy, and now they're like I can see everything through them now. So hopefully I can rebound and at least accomplish something, at least set these plants up to survive the winter. Like I really want to, especially around the fruit trees, really mulch very thick to try and give them their best shot at surviving the winter, so I don't have a bunch of loss for next year, because I can't afford to lose more trees. I did have replacements for all the 10 that did die, so that's good. One of the replacements is this fig tree. I totally forgot about it. I put it on the front porch. It got blown over by the wind, and it was like kind of out of sight because it got blown off the porch, and it sat there for at least a few days, and all the leaves are all crinkled up and dried, and they're falling off. I'm trying to see if I can salvage it, but it might have bit the dust, so I might have lost one of the replacement trees for one of the trees that died. And then I'll get the rest of the replacement trees next year in the spring. I think I'll be done. I don't think I'm gonna get any. I can't say that. I was gonna say I'm not gonna get any more fruit trees for any of the other ones if any do go. But fruit trees are a 5-year like investment before you actually see a return. So the sooner you start them, the sooner you'll actually get the harvesting. So I don't want to miss out on any more time. Like I wish I had planted the fruit trees like as soon as we moved in here, but didn't know I was even going to be doing this. All right, that's it. That's all the rambling I'm going to do. That's the entire story of the food forest. That's how everything's doing. Thank you for watching. I do truly appreciate it. Very small channel. Not very good at this. I still have a lot to learn and do with YouTube and making videos, and I'm hoping this winter I can actually sit down and focus on YouTube and try and add a lot more flair to it, a lot more entertainment value to it, work on structure, more information, useful information, helpful information, and like, you know, find my niche, you know, find the thing that makes me different than everyone else and helps me stand out. Because otherwise I'm just like every other person. There's, you know, thousands of homesteading or farmer YouTubers, so it's hard to pick which one you want to watch. You know, we only have so much time in the day. So thank you again. I appreciate it. It really means a lot to me as I try and kickstart this life and this dream of doing this full time. I have a long way to go, so I better get to it and stop talking about it. So I'll catch you guys next time. Keep the imagination rolling. Bye-bye.